Tonight, the push to stop car thefts that could cost owners.
I woke up Saturday morning and realized the car from right outside the house wasn't there.
Thefts are way up, violent carjackings too. Now insurance companies want trackers installed, leaving some drivers on the hook. Sports Illustrated lays off most of its staff.
My gut tells me that, yes, this is the end of Sports Illustrated.
What lies ahead for what was the most influential sports magazine?
Join Jeff and me in this song.
From today's special to CBC News, remembering a Canadian trailblazer.
Everybody loved to be around her.
Nerene Virgin's lasting legacy.
This is The National with Ian Henemansing.
In another sign of the explosive growth of auto theft, some insurance companies are telling owners to install tracking devices or pay a price. In Quebec and Ontario, including the Toronto area, where the rate of car thefts has nearly tripled over the past 2 years, insurance companies have sent notices to the owners of vehicles popular with thieves to get trackers installed. As Ithel Musa explains, it's an effort to get ahead of an enormously expensive problem.
There's probably 1 million of them in the neighborhood.
Steve Gibbs's Honda CR-V was stolen last November, but he says when he realized what happened, it was found within minutes.
It was only a couple blocks away from here.
Gimza had installed a tracking system in his car after his auto insurance company urged him to do so or face higher payments.
They told me they have upwards of 95% plus success rate, and so absolutely feel a lot more security in the vehicle.
According to Equite Association, which investigates insurance fraud and crime, for the first time in history in 2022, insurance companies in Canada paid out more than $1 billion in claims for stolen vehicles.
The stats are startling. They speak for themselves, and ultimately they do speak to organized crime's role in auto theft as a major revenue generating tool.
Hence the push for owners to install tracking devices under the threat of hundreds of dollars in increased premiums. In Gims's case, the insurance company covered the cost of installation. Desjardins Insurance, which sent out letters to customers in Ontario and Quebec, says if a client chooses not to install this type of system, a standard premium is applied due to the risk of theft being higher and the likelihood of retrieving the highly sought-after vehicle becoming lower.
Insurers are in the business of risk, and they're increasingly sending price signals to their consumers about the risk that their vehicle and or the location in which that vehicle may be garaged presents.
According to Equite, Gims's car presents a great risk. Honda SR-Vs like his were the most stolen vehicles in Ontario in 2022.
I'm surprised it would be this vehicle that would be number one on the list for theft. But we've had it for a while, and I'm not going to get rid of it because of the risk of theft.
Ithel, in Ontario, the police and the provincial government have shifted a lot of resources into fighting this surge in thefts.
Yeah, that's right, Ian. Last year, Ontario's Solicitor General announced $51 million for the creation of a new organized crime and auto theft task force led by the Ontario Provincial Police. Experts say the insurance industry can't solve the problem of auto thefts on its own. It will take governments, law enforcement, and even car manufacturers to combat the rising number of vehicle thefts in Canada.
Ithel Musa in our Toronto newsroom. Thanks. There's turmoil tonight at a storied sports journalism magazine. Sports Illustrated delivered layoff notices to most of its staff today. Cameron McIntosh now with more on the publication's uncertain future after nearly 70 years.
To be here meant you really made it. The iconic cover of Sports Illustrated, known for its leading-edge journalism beyond the scores, and yes, the swimsuit issue too. But for years, cracks at the vaunted magazine have been showing.
I realized a dream. I had my bylines.
Up until a few months ago, Ethan Diamandis was freelancing for SI's website, covering the Toronto Blue Jays for a publisher that felt less than stable.
But it became obvious that this wasn't, the Sports Illustrated brand structure. These weren't the Sports Illustrated people that I grew up with. I grew up reading.
Sports Illustrated is owned by US-based Authentic Brands, which had licensed the magazine's editorial and publishing to another company, Arena Group. Arena announced the layoffs after missing a payment to Authentic Brands, which says it wants the magazine to continue.
It's clear that the people who operate the magazine have thought of it more as a brand than as of a magazine.
Author Michael McCambridge wrote The Franchise, a history of Sports Illustrated magazine. He doesn't see it recovering.
The sad fact is that it used to set the agenda for sports media in America and beyond. And it also used to be one of the very best written magazines in the country.
In 1988, SI captured Canada's shock and shame at the Seoul Olympics with a single word. But over time, its quality and authority diminished. In November, it was accused of publishing AI-generated articles under fake writers' names.
Doug Flutie, Boston College magazine. Of course, he was a CFL legend.
Looking at back issues, Curtis Housen remembers the excitement of following SI as a kid. Now running a collectibles store, he says it still has a following as a collector's item.
Times change and things adapt, things evolve. So
once the final word in sport, Sports Illustrated looks finally relegated to sports history. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Canada's biggest grocery chain, Loblaw, has reversed its decision to reduce discounts on soon-to-expire food. The company says it's returning to that 50% discount on items nearing their best-before date. Consumers complained after the discount was reduced to 30%, especially as many grapple with rising food prices. In Saskatchewan, a former junior hockey coach is facing 3 years in prison for sexually assaulting a teenage player in the late 1980s. Bernie Lynch was also sentenced to 30 days for hitting the same 17-year-old. It happened while he was an assistant coach for the Western Hockey League's Regina Pats. The charges were laid following a CBC News investigation into allegations of inappropriate and predatory behavior with players over Lynch's 40-year coaching career. A complex emotional murder trial ended today with a not guilty verdict. A Toronto mother acquitted in the 2011 sudden death of her disabled daughter. As Thomas Dagler reports, the verdict in this retrial comes after more than a decade of uncertainty in the case.
After nearly 13 years of suspicion, Cindy Ali left court acquitted in the murder of her daughter, with supporters believing her story all along.
Hey, it feels good to be free.
February 19th, 2011, Ali called 911 from her Toronto home, inconsolable as she reported a break-in.
We have help on the way, okay? Help is coming.
Her daughter Sanara wasn't breathing. She had severe cerebral palsy and at 16 years old was pronounced dead. Suspicion turned to her mother, who was arrested, and in 2016, a jury found Ali guilty of first-degree murder. Her case explored in a recent documentary, the filmmaker blaming Ali's conviction on racial profiling and disability bias.
The way that I evaluated the series of events that happened, I could only conclude that those biases played a role.
It's very hard, I'll be honest.
In 2021, an appeals court ordered a retrial, where prosecutors pursued the case as a so-called mercy killing, alleging the mother used a pillow to suffocate Sanara. Ali instead blamed a home invasion gone wrong, even producing a handwritten letter purportedly from the intruders themselves. The judge saying in her decision, "I'm not sure where the truth of the matter lies about the home invasion claim," but she acquitted the mother, saying, "I'm left in a state of reasonable doubt as to Mrs. Ali's guilt."
Police can rush to judgment, as they did in this case.
As for Ali, she says she wondered whether this day would ever come.
It's going to be our time as a family to start healing and grieving.
After a win in court, she says she can only now start to process her family's loss. Thomas Dagler, CBC News, Toronto.
The coroner's inquest into the mass stabbing at James Smith Cree Nation that left 11 people dead has moved now from the crime itself to the reason why. The mind and motivation of the perpetrator, Myles Sanderson. Sam Sampson takes us inside the testimony and the reaction from those close to the tragedy.
A Buffalo song, usually played at funerals, reverberates inside this community center turned courthouse, where details of a grisly crime replayed for those who lived it.
Yeah, just reopen everything, so but I'm ready to move on with my life too.
Vanessa Burns was Myles Sanderson's partner for 14 years. During the inquest, she detailed his emotional and physical abuse. He would get angry and violent, and that was his way of making me stop talking, she told the jury. She tried to leave at times, but she told the jury, I always felt like no matter what I did, this person would always come back. Weeks before the stabbings, Vanessa said she drove Sanderson around James Smith Cree Nation to sell drugs. 2 days before the attacks, Sanderson brutally assaulted Vanessa while driving. His brother Damien, known for calming Myles down, intervened, but it didn't last. A day and a half later, the mass stabbing began. Damien, the first to die. On Friday, a forensic psychologist offered insight into why this happened. He said he believes Sanderson lived with antisocial personality disorder and intermittent explosive disorder, partly caused by childhood trauma, a combination that made him angry and controlling.
It hurt, to hear about his childhood. It made me feel a little sad, a little sorry for him. But he didn't have a chance as a child.
Sanderson killed Vanessa's father, Earl Burns Sr., and stabbed her mother. Earl tried to chase Sanderson down in a school bus, but the vehicle was found in this ditch with the headlights on. The morning of the attacks, RCMP drove past the bus several times before checking it. The officer who found Earl dead inside apologized that it took so long.
I was somewhat angry, right? Wondering why help didn't get to him sooner. But talking to the actual police officer that attended the scene and seeing his facial expression and hearing his voice and seeing that he's compassionate, like he's a human being as well.
The whole point of this inquest is to prevent future violence. So one hope the sisters have is for updated programming for men in custody who have committed domestic abuse. This inquest will continue on Monday. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Melfort, Saskatchewan.
Actor Alec Baldwin is facing charges again in the fatal shooting of a cinematographer on a movie set in 2021. The charge was previously dropped after prosecutors were told the gun might have been modified and malfunctioned. But today, a grand jury chose to indict him with involuntary manslaughter a second time based on a new analysis. If convicted, Baldwin could face up to 18 months in prison. Canada is considering reimposing a visa requirement for Mexican nationals. It's in response to a demand from Quebec to rein in the number of asylum seekers. Kate McKenna brings us the new response from the federal government.
Arriving mostly by plane, Mexicans are increasingly claiming asylum in Canada. Thousands are settling in Quebec. Premier François Legault is calling on the federal government to tighten visa rules because he says Quebec can't properly support them. Now Canada's public safety minister says that's on the table.
We're looking at a whole series of options, which would include visas, of course.
In 2016, Canada lifted the visa requirement for Mexicans.
This move will make it easier for our Mexican friends to visit Canada while growing our local economies.
But some are warning that move had unintended consequences.
We have an obligation to secure our borders.
The U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security told Rosemary Barton Live in April that the U.S. asked Canada to reinstate visa requirements for Mexico, fearing some Mexicans were looking for a backdoor into the U.S.
So I think that's a decision that the Canadian officials are going to make.
Last fall, the RCMP told Radio-Canada they are investigating human smuggling organizations linked to Mexican cartels, allegedly transporting people from Canada to the United States. But some experts warn restrictions won't fix the issue.
History has shown that the imposition of visas only places people at further risk. It does not prevent people from actually arriving here.
Canada has options other than forcing all Mexicans to get a visa. Dominic LeBlanc says there are a series of security measures at the border, and they're always looking to make them better. He also says the federal government is helping Quebec deal with the influx of asylum seekers to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. But now Ottawa is facing sustained pressure to do more. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
North Korea said today it tested nuclear-capable underwater attack drones. State media showed these undated images of the tests that it says were carried out off the country's east coast. Pyongyang says it's in response to what it called provocative joint military exercises by the U.S., South Korea, and Japan. Israel's facing growing pressure from its allies, including Canada, to accept a post-war plan for a two-state solution. Benjamin Netanyahu has long rejected the establishment of a Palestinian state. But as Chris Brown shows us, there's new pushback tonight.
105 days of Israeli attacks have reduced 60% of the homes in Gaza to rubble, says the UN. Here, Israel blew up the Al Isra University, which it claims was used by Hamas. Schools have been demolished too, as Israel's military hunts above and below ground for hostages taken by Hamas. The vital institutions necessary to sustain a community are vanishing. Much of the world wants Israel to stop the attacks and commit to creating a Palestinian state afterward. But Thursday, Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated what he has long been saying, that Israel will not allow that. Friday, the White House said despite the obvious chasm on the day after scenario, U.S. support remains unchanged.
We'll always work with them, regardless of the differences, maybe on political issues. We're going to make sure that they have what they need.
In other words, U.S. President Joe Biden will not add any new conditions on military aid to Israel.
I think it's highly unlikely that this rift over whether there'll be a two-state solution, when it might come into being, is going to fundamentally alter America's security support for the state of Israel.
Along with the Americans, Qatari officials have been trying to broker deals between Hamas and Israel. And speaking to Rosemary Barton, an advisor to Qatar's prime minister, said Palestinian statehood cannot be sidelined.
We have made it clear from day one that there is no other alternative for peace than the two-state solution.
More immediately, civilians in Gaza are trying to find respite from the war. Walid Al-Amasi has moved to the border with Egypt, hoping it's the safest place. Where is the international community, he asks. Should I look on the Egyptian border? Should I look in the ocean? When the war ends, he says there's now almost nothing left of his community to go back to. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Nerene Virgin has died at the age of 77.
So many people are messaging and talking about how she meant something to them, especially children of color.
How the TV trailblazer broke barriers and inspired a generation. Plus, a cargo plane catches fire minutes after takeoff.
Oh my God, it's on fire.
The malfunction that forced an emergency landing. And
hi, welcome to McDonald's.
An AI takeover coming to a restaurant near you.
They can do the same task over and over and over again with a very high degree of efficiency.
What that could mean for the future of the fast food industry. We're back into. Prince Harry has dropped his libel claim against the British tabloid The Mail on Sunday. His decision came hours before his legal team was required to submit documents to the court. Last month, a judge ruled the case would go to trial. Harry had sued the publisher over a 2022 article about his security arrangements after he split with the royal family and moved to the U.S. Canadian actor, activist, and broadcaster Nerene Virgin has died. Among her roles, Jody in the children's show Today's Special. Magda Geberselassie speaks to her family and the fans she continues to inspire.
Join Jeff and me in this song.
She was a beloved children's entertainer in the 80s, a news anchor in the 90s, and all along a champion for Black history and anti-racism work. Nerene Virgin lived a big and memorable life.
Everybody loved to be around her because she was just so warm and welcoming.
On Monday, Virgin died at the age of 77. A trailblazer in public, it's the private moments her daughter and husband are also remembering.
I think people would be surprised to know how funny she was, like super funny.
She just wanted to be remembered for just the fact that she was so genuine and different hats. She could do anything she wanted.
Then Megan yelled.
And she did, reinventing her career and breaking new ground, transitioning from teaching to television.
Today's special, it's for everyone.
As Jody on TV Ontario's Today's Special, she made many lifelong fans. It felt like watching family, says this one.
When I saw this Black woman with the dimples, just like my mom, working in a department store, I was like immediately hooked to this show because it was this connection for me.
Hello, I'm Nerene Virgin at News.
Virgin stayed connected to the audience even after she moved into journalism. But working in the industry in the 90s as a Black woman, Virgin spoke of the barriers she and others faced.
I was told that don't think just because you have high ratings they will ever accept anybody like you thinking you have power.
After her broadcasting career, she became committed to anti-racism work, helping with Black history education in Ontario schools. She took a run at politics too, and ran a consulting firm with her husband to promote diversity and inclusion in workplaces.
She paved the way for hosts, anchors, reporters like myself.
CBC Marketplace host Asha Tomlinson met Virgin about 10 years ago, and they remained in touch.
I hope people will remember that she's got this personality and that she was a wonderful icon, historian, but also a wonderful human.
A celebration of Virgin's life will be held in her hometown of Hamilton later this year. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
Artificial intelligence has created robots perfectly geared to work in restaurants.
There will be shifts in where humans are needed.
The benefits in the kitchen and concerns about cooks. A debate over revenge in hockey has gone viral.
This isn't archaic.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is archaic.
With a gold medalist turned broadcaster refusing to back down.
That's cheap and dirt.
My interview with Jennifer Botterill on the reaction she's receiving. And she made history at the Oscars.
There was no precedent for anything that I'm doing right now.
And she's looking to do it again.
Something tragic was happening.
We sit down with director Ava Duvernay. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
Oh my God, it's on fire. Oh my God.
That is the engine of a cargo plane catching fire shortly after takeoff in Miami last night. The Atlas Air jet was able to land safely at the airport, but the cause of the malfunction, that is still under investigation. And with that, Japan became the 5th country to land on the moon. The remote-controlled Moon Sniper touched down this morning, but it's off to a rocky start. The spacecraft's solar power is not working as intended. Japan's space agency is communicating with the robot. They're hoping they can angle it towards the sun to get it charged up. In some fast food kitchens, robots are taking over the more repetitive tasks. As Nisha Patel explains, for restaurant workforces, big change could be on the menu.
From flipping burgers to serving up French fries or tossing together salads, robots are working hard behind fast food counters these days.
Our core technology is designed with AI and machine learning.
Ashkan Mirnabavi created Remy, an automated assembly line that makes salads, as many as 300 in an hour.
The demand has been great, and we've received a lot of inquiries and purchase orders.
Hi, and welcome to McDonald's.
Fast food jobs are fast-paced and demanding, and studies have shown that after the pandemic, fewer people want to do them. Many big brands like Domino's turning to automation to fill the gap.
Robotics companies say their machines could cut labor costs and shop customer wait times. Chipotle is testing a few options that could roll out in Canada sometime this year.
They can do the same task over and over and over again with a very high degree of efficiency and success.
The chain's Autocado machine cuts, cores, and scoops avocados, helping serve up a batch of guacamole in half the usual time. Chipotle says human workers are then free to focus on less repetitive tasks.
Allow them to spend more of their time engaging with hospitality with our guests.
Though companies are quick to declare that workers would see their positions change, not disappear, one report estimates more than 80% of restaurant jobs could potentially be done by robots. Experts say the sector's workforce could shrink permanently.
So what happens to those jobs?
It's not new that there will be shifts in where humans are needed.
Cautioning that amid this disruptive technology, it's crucial for employers to plan to retrain their employees.
What can that individual or that role be able to do differently that will be more customer-centric?
The technology is still pricey, but some fast food chains are starting to see its value. After all, robots can work around the clock and won't call in sick. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the news shaping our world. Trailblazing filmmaker Ava Duvernay's new film Origin could shake up the Oscar race. Her conversation with Eli Glasner. But first, Jennifer Botterill won 3 Olympic golds with Team Canada, now a respected broadcaster with strong views on cleaning up the game.
And you're okay with that? If it's your son out there playing and he takes that 2-hand to the face?
Her take on the new Women's League and ending hockey's revenge culture. So Jennifer, you're playing in an alumni game tonight. Did all your equipment come in safely? You're all set to go?
Yes, great news. My gear arrived, and I will be honest with you, I practiced for the first time last night in full gear in likely 12 years. I get on the ice all the time with my kids, but full gear is a different story, so I am really looking forward to tonight.
Okay, our fingers are crossed. Hopefully that all goes well for you. I want to talk about a viral moment you had the other day on Sportsnet. For those who aren't familiar, you were on a panel and you guys were discussing a high-sticking incident in an NHL game. We're going to roll some tape.
To me, Hartman is sending a message that you're not going to go after our star player.
This is the play they're talking about. The player in green, Ryan Hartman, high sticks Cole Perfetti in the face and told him it was retaliation for something a completely different player did.
There's still an element of fear. There's still an element of being aggressive and sending a message.
Some sort of revenge, in my opinion, has to be exacted there.
And then Jennifer weighed in.
Both of the terms you guys use, revenge and sending a message. I don't know. You watch the play, you see Perfetti, a young, great player in your league. You think that's what you want to present or succumb your young, talented players to? That it's okay if I'm this far from Carolyn to two-hander as hard as I can in a 1-foot radius? I don't know. I don't think that's what's selling your game for your biggest stars, your skilled players. You're saying, okay, if you're a young player coming up, be ready because this could happen to you at any point.
So that went viral. I have to say I was really impressed with the way what you weighed in with there. But I'm kind of curious, what reaction did you get, Jennifer?
Well, thanks for your nice comments. And I was really overwhelmed with the number of people who reached out following the segment. And I will say one thing, it was certainly an authentic moment that we knew we were going to talk about the incident, but we didn't know what every person was going to share in terms of a point of view. And so the number of people that sent messages or called and expressed their support was something I certainly did not expect. And I'm glad that people felt inclined to join the conversation and at least think about the game from a different point of view.
So you've been a high-level hockey player for a long time. You grew up in a hockey family, but it was interesting. You kind of framed your point of view there as a mom, and for all of us who are parents, what kind of game do we want our kids to be playing? What message do you have out there for hockey parents?
Well, that maybe the game itself is great, but maybe there's also room to improve and to think about how the game could potentially be even better. And so some of the terms that were brought up in our discussion, whether it was revenge or fear or retaliation, I don't believe that should be a part of the game or that it needs to be a part of the game. If you look at some of the best talent in the game today and the skill and the speed that we are seeing on a nightly basis in professional hockey, I don't think that should be a necessary part of the game to sell it to the fans. And in terms of the highlights that they want to see, I feel like it's those skilled plays that are perhaps the most exciting part of the game. And with 3 young kids myself that are involved in the sport, I certainly think about them and the future of the game and what we want it to look like. And so I think in that sense, that's why the conversation was so genuine. And for all of us to think about, yes, we love the great game of hockey, but are there potential improvements that we can make to make it even better in the future?
Before I let you go, I have to ask you about the Professional Women's Hockey League. What a roaring start for it. Sold out, lots of attention on television. And as a player who won gold medals in women's hockey, who played in professional leagues, how do you feel about how this new league is doing?
I think it's been so exciting to see. I am so happy for all the players that have the chance to experience this. We've seen on the ice, it's been a great product. I think the talent is tremendous. It's nice they kept it small with 6 teams. We've seen an international flavor. We've seen some great close games, some incredible goals that have been scored. And I just think, you know what, I had an event with many of the players in the fall, and I got emotional thanking them for all the hard work that they did. And for all the players involved, they wanted to do it the right way and have the league set up so that it would be sustainable for decades to come. And for them, it wasn't ever about their individual contracts or signing those contracts. It was about establishing something for the future. And I think the product on the ice has been amazing. The atmosphere, the energy in all the rinks has also been great. So just an amazing thing to see, because so many of us as former players had the dream and the vision of this happening, and to see it become a reality for the players now is just tremendous and so well deserved.
It is terrific to hear your excitement and enthusiasm about the new league, and excitement and enthusiasm about hockey, the perfect mood to have as you get ready there for Hockey Day in Canada in Victoria. And hopefully after a long layoff, things go well tonight on the ice.
Thank you so much, Ian. Great to chat with you. Thanks.
And this year marks the first time the British Columbia's capital is hosting Hockey Day in Canada. The event has been held every year since 2000, with one exception, 2005, and that was due to the NHL lockout. A newly released movie focused on oppression is getting rave reviews.
The film itself says everything that I want to say about what we're experiencing in this time politically.
Director Ava Duvernay on why directing Origin was such a personal project. Ava Duvernay's Oscar-nominated film Selma looked at a black icon's battle against racial injustice. Her new movie, Origin, explores a journalist's quest to document the roots of it.
You'll find something tragic was happening.
Now in theaters with a buzz that could cause a last-minute Oscar shakeup. Ava Duvernay sat down with Eli Glasner to talk about the successful career she once couldn't picture.
I never thought that I'd be a full-time filmmaker. Are you kidding? Never imagined it. I'll get emotional even talking about it. Never imagined it, because I couldn't see it, and no one had ever done that before.
Oscar-nominated director and producer Ava Duvernay is a trailblazer, a rabble-rouser, an agent of change who made history as the first ever black female director nominated for an Oscar for her film Selma, chronicling Martin Luther King Jr.'s campaign for civil rights.
It is unacceptable that they use their power to keep us voiceless.
Catch Oprah Winfrey there? If you missed her, just check out Duvernay's Instagram, where you can find the two powerhouse collaborators and friends. Joining forces on the series Queen Sugar for Oprah's network. While Duvernay's production company, Array, continues fighting to open doors and increase opportunities in Hollywood. For over a decade now, Duvernay has been dedicated to telling and amplifying stories of black and racialized experience, breaking ground all the while.
There was no precedent for anything that I'm doing right now. There was no black woman filmmaker that I could look to that was consistently making films.
Even as a little girl growing up in Compton, Los Angeles, Duvernay wanted to tell stories.
Now, I talked to my friend J.J. Abrams or Mr. Spielberg, and at that age they had cameras.
Right.
So they were telling their stories with cameras. But I didn't have cameras. I didn't even think about that. I told my stories with Barbies.
That's right, Barbie dolls.
Because my sisters and I would make full day-long stories where my mother would have to say, stop playing the Barbies. Dialogue, little houses. They were living life.
Flash forward to today, Duvernay's gone from playing with plastic to directing record-breaking features such as the surreal sci-fi adventure A Wrinkle in Time, and 13th, a documentary connecting slavery to the prison system.
We now have more African Americans under criminal supervision than all the slaves back in the 1850s.
On this day,
All of it leading up to her latest and most challenging project, Origin.
he couldn't have been the only one who felt something tragic was happening.
Based on the award-winning book by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Isabel Wilkerson, Origin connects the dots between racism and discrimination in America and hierarchies of inequality in India and Nazi Germany.
You've already done so much in your work looking at racism, looking at how it divides. I would have thought, like, you've done that enough, and yet you're like, no, I'm going to go deeper. What was it about this subject matter, that book, that you said, I am going to find a way to tell this impossible tale?
I think it's the interconnectedness of it, because so much of my work before had been very centered on the African American experience. This one, though, connected our experience to the experiences of others in different times, in different places around the world. How are we connected to Nazi Germany? How are we connected to the caste system in India and other systems where folks are put on a scale of human dignity? And how does that fit into what we're experiencing right now?
We're talking about the systematic murder of 6 million Jews.
At a time when it seems divisions are deepening, Origin seeks to shed light by teasing out connections. While the film was made before the Israel-Hamas war, the Palestinian people are referenced in a list of besieged communities worldwide.
That's a loaded topic, but you put it in there intently. Why did that need to be in your film?
You know, we talk about, one of our huge storylines is the love story between a man who was registered in the Nazi Party and a Jewish woman that he was in love with. That's how Isabel Wilkerson opens her book. Oppression, it touches different kinds of people in different parts of the world. And so these stories and these perspectives are all in the melting pot that is in the film. And that's why the film itself says everything that I want to say about what we're experiencing in this time politically.
Perhaps more than any of her projects, Origin hits audiences hard.
Usually after the screening I can hear sniffles, and I see people hugging one another. I see people, just contemplating what they've seen in a different way than my other work.
It's a long way from playing with her dolls in her yard. Now little girls can buy a Barbie inspired by Duvernay herself.
The Ava doll is one of 6 specialty Shiro collection Barbies, meant to honor women whose work inspires young girls by breaking social molds and carving out new paths.
We actually have, because I have a daughter, I was going to say young, but she's not so young anymore. We have, never said this to someone I've interviewed before, I have your doll.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite.
Wow.
I mean, what a full circle moment, though, to go from being that girl, imagining a world, playing with your dolls, to now being an inspiration by having a doll of you, the filmmaker, in this chair.
Sitting, talking about my film on this show with a man whose daughter has the doll. What are we doing here?
This is one of the best films of the year, certainly the most important film.
But Duvernay's already back tirelessly trying to push her new film into the award season conversation. Origin isn't an easy sell because there's never been a film like it. Part academic exploration, part personal, informed by the author's own grief.
You okay?
This story shouldn't really work, but you found a way to fuse these kind of two aspects of the personal and the political together. It's a new hybrid. You've kind of created a new genre.
I think that I allowed myself, and kind of with the independence of the production, freed myself from some of the boxes that I think I had been in. Blurring the lines between documentary and narrative at some times.
Hollywood's really good about building boxes, but you're kind of tearing those things apart.
I try.
Although Origin has just started its wide rollout, it does qualify for this year's Oscars due to a limited U.S. release back in December. Angelina Jolie, Regina King, and Lin-Manuel Miranda are all big supporters. We'll find out who makes the cut on Tuesday. And don't miss my feature interview this Sunday with Canada's own Michael Buble. Tonight, we quickly test his wit and speed.
I'm going to ask you 8 questions in 2 minutes. Okay. Are you quick on your feet? Can you do this?
Yes.
Okay, have fun with it. For someone who's never heard any of your songs, what's the essential Buble? What should they listen to?
They should probably listen to one original, say Haven't Met You Yet, and one standard, let's say Feeling Good.
Is there someone else's song that when you hear it, you think, damn, I wish that was me?
There's times when people cover my songs, and I think, damn, I wish I had done it that well. There was a cover of Home from Blake Shelton and Westlife, and they both had big hits with it. And I was like, man, did they do it better than I did it?
Another summer day has come and gone away. In Paris and Rome, but I wanna go home.
Favorite Taylor Swift song?
Shake It Off.
Wow, that was quick.
I really like that song.
You're a hockey guy.
Yeah.
Your favorite hockey moment?
Daniel and Henrik Sedin helping each other to win the Art Ross Trophy. I bawled my head off. It became so deep watching these two brothers make sure that one would end up with the highest point total of the year. And I don't think I'd ever seen that kind of determination before.
Over to Henrik. In front for Daniel. Stop. Rebound. Daniel scores.
There was no one that could have stopped them.
A producer of mine in the newsroom says, I can't come back unless I get the answer to this. She wants to know, what are the chances that pineapple coconut bubbly is coming back?
That's a good question. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know, but I hope they bring back Mary Berry Buble, because I think it might be my favorite flavor.
Look at this, right underneath. Mary Berry Buble.
If life hadn't worked out as a musician, what would you have ended up doing?
I honestly would have ended up probably as a journalist.
And how deeply disappointing would you being a journalist have been to your family?
Oh no, my family loves me so much that it's
Even that?
Unconditional, man. Even that, even being the lowest of the low, you know? That might be too low now that I'm thinking about it.
All right, okay. Let me finish with this. First time you heard one of your pop songs on the radio?
I knew Haven't Met You Yet was going to be a big hit, and I was driving home to West Van at the time, and I can't remember what local DJ it was, but I think it was Z95 or something, and she said, well, this song is spectacular. This is going to be a big, big hit. And I was like, oh my God, yes, please.
Beautiful. All right, thank you very much.
Man.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
I just haven't met you yet.
We covered a lot of ground in our longer conversation, including the time he thought his music career had reached the end. My interview with Michael Buble this Sunday on The National. Coming up, a clutch shot right in the nick of time.
So I made eye contact with my teammate. I ran up the floor. He threw the ball to me in the air. I just thought we had to win the game.
The last-second heroics that won a championship is next in our moment. This is Kyle Bridger, a basketball player at O'Donnell High School in Newfoundland, and he's about to attempt a very difficult three-point shot. Adding to the pressure, time was running out. A tournament title was on the line, but Bridger did not disappoint, and tonight, his impressive buzzer beater is our moment.
We had no timeouts left, and I was thinking, well, we gotta at least shoot it. So I made eye contact with my teammate. I ran up the floor. He threw the ball to me in the air. I'm like, I gotta shoot it. I got as close as I could. I just thought we had to win the game. I just shot it, and as soon as I shot it, it looked good. And then when it went in, I was a little surprised and a little confused what to do. So I just stood there, and then everyone, a lot of people from our school just crowded the court. Didn't realize how many people were actually there, how many people had actually stormed in. Everyone's talking about it, all my friends are talking about it, and all the teachers in school are talking about it. It's crazy. I was just excited that we won.
So if you don't know the basketball rules, the way it works is if you get that shot off while there's still time, even if the buzzer goes while the ball's in the air, it'll count if it goes in. And one of our producers found a statistic that for pro players, their shooting percentage for three-pointers in normal circumstances, 35%. When the championship's on the line in your high school gym, I'm sure it's even lower. So what a shot. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anytime, anywhere on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the Nationals YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing in Vancouver. See you Sunday night.